I was thinking the other day about failure or idea of what that is. It really is subjective. But people have these perfect delusions, these imaginings that they wanted this or they wanted that. They imagined this, they imagined that, and it turned out differently, and they can't bridge that gap. The disappointment, the suffering, the frustration is too big. But just look at that impersonally for a second. That's psychological, man. That's psychology. That has nothing. Fill in the variables. You might be on the equator right now, somewhere on this globe. It has nothing to do with your neighborhood, your parents. I mean, maybe a little bit your parents. Look, there's causality there. That's karma, right? They made some mistakes, or their people got taken over and then subjugated and robbed. Yeah, that's why making mistakes like that aren't recommended by anyone, including Jesus and the Buddha. I like to include both of them together. Some people said I had too much of a Buddhist focus. Look, I see Buddhism as a module to Christianity. I haven't given up one iota of Christianity. So I get it, it's complicated. Somebody who's an academic like me, I'm in the books, okay? I'm not trying to misuse this against people. I'm trying to share what I know to people who can take it or leave it, right? It's just what I know or think. And really, my opinion, I want everyone to think, if I ever had an opinion on something, to disabuse themselves of that notion. Look, we can get hung up on opinions. We can personalize things. That's why I've adopted the path of disidentification and depersonalization. Doesn't have to do with personalities. It has to do with expectations or wants and desires and cravings. The delusionality that oftentimes accompanies those things, and then the disillusionment phase. Whatever that is. In my case, I lived a brilliant life. I spent it with brilliant people. We had a brilliant time, of which I have immense gratitude. Even the challenging people, I have nothing but gratitude for them. I say a prayer for them every night. That's what that means. I wish them well. I wish all living creatures, all living beings well. How about that one? You think you're a radical? Do that. Think I'm a radical for doing that? I don't see it that way. It's very practical. I can't know every living being, but I can still wish them well. I don't want somebody to mess up. Hey, you sitting in prison, I wish that didn't happen to you. I really do. Believe it. I don't see punishment like that. But if you mess up, man, that you set that causality in motion. You don't know what's gonna happen. Many people don't. We don't. We think we can know until something happens, and then where's our theory then? Go back and watch some Leprechaun. that Leprechaun movie series. Start with the first one. You think you got everything figured out, and then out pops a leprechaun. Look, it's a metaphor, people. Don't take me that seriously all the time. Can I make a joke every once in a while? Can I use some metaphysics, some metaphors, some literary devices, some rhetoric just for making this life just a tad more entertaining? If I wrote it down and put it in a book, who would take offense at it? They would think it's just for them, and maybe they would relax. Well, why don't you do that now? It's nothing to do with you. People personalize insults. Somebody shouts out a window, you beepity beep beep. Do you apply it to yourself? I don't. For me, that is just syllables in the wind. It has nothing to do with me. I look at people that do that like they're crazy, because they is, okay? They are so crazy, they are yelling out the window to people they don't know words that are not wise. How crazy can that be? That's pretty damn crazy. I don't envy people like that, do you? You want to end up like that? Oh my goodness. Take some practical steps. People, breathe in deep right now. Breathe out deep. Just like that. Look, religion has to be practical, physical, achievable like that. If it isn't, you're going to lose your mind at the wrong time and do the wrong thing, which is going to be bad for you. Yes, you. Directly you. That's the direct appeal. But I see that as Christianity too. Where's the difference? Who's going to say doctrinally this shouldn't be a practical religion? There is no beef. Now look, there are different ethnocentric groups that have their own internal workings that we should respect, and they should respect ours in kind. We can wish them well, we can wish ourselves well. We have no delusion of superiority or inferiority or of equality, just like it's easy to do if you try. And everyone should give themselves the effort because, look, we're living beings. Do you go out and scream at elks because you don't like them? You don't like how they act or what they do? Well, maybe you're in their territory, or maybe it's the other way around. Now, an elk running around a pedestrian zone where the humans are traveling, and not just any humans, young humans that don't know how to protect themselves, that could get a serious injury like losing their eye or half their face or die. So people get worried. And so it can be a tragic case where some dumb animal goes where it doesn't belong, starts causing some trouble, and ends up DOA. Just like that. Now, it is tragic. Some people, they would see that as tragedy. Some of them don't. They're like, damn, I don't have to worry about leaving my house now, and I don't want to be in my house because I got 10 kids here that are a pain in the butt. It's better to be outside, but not when an elk is running around. You see what I'm saying? So, there's a compromise. There's a middle path between good governance and overdoing things. Now, if you go out of sheer paranoia and start plugging elk beyond replacement, that does seem a little out of kilter, doesn't it? Does that seem like a wise or enlightened policy? Or can we find a happy medium between the two? See, I like to take these theoretical escapades in other areas because they apply to human governance as well. We can apply them to our communities, we can apply them to our principles. We can apply them personally. That's where the rubber meets the road. There's no point in doing the other things I described if you don't do it personally on a regular basis, like every second, or at least every couple minutes, or a couple of hours, or at least every other day. Come on. Can't do that for yourself? You're on some kind of autopilot? Maybe you're trying to do too much. Maybe that's why you're so distracted. Maybe you haven't thought about these things, which is why you're behind the strategic 8 ball. Yeah, morality, it's strategic. You have good morals, you have less problems. It's that simple. That's why people adopt morality. That's why they take morality seriously. But sometimes people overdo it. Like, someone might be a genius, but also might have had a series of failed relationships for understandable reasons. By at least compassionate people could understand why. But we have a lot of people that aren't compassionate. They aren't forgiving. They are into competition. They are into appearances, and they are into making other people look bad so they look just a little bit better. It's very vulgar. It's very common. But it's also very off-putting and misguided, is it not? So let's all dispense with that. I know I have, but, every once in a while, one will be tested. It's not like it goes away just because you get some insight. How about this practical philosophy? Well, why is there a gap between religion and practical philosophy? Can it be brought into the fold so that we don't have a lot of animosity towards things that can help us? Can we do that? I mean, can we evolve our point of view? Can we leave grudges behind? Can we leave ill will or hatred behind? Can we do that? At least psychologically. I think that is possible. Now, if we can do it socially, right, and nationally, and you name it, well, then we're going to need some more enlightened policies to reduce the frictional areas such as good working order. I think that does cross the line. When things are no longer working right, you've crossed the line. But one need not go overboard. One can start adopting enlightened policies and discard the ones that led to the problem in the first place. For, I don't know, emotional reasons, irrational reasons, not very transparent or straightforward reasons. Yeah, that's precisely the type of thinking one should dispense with should one discover it. So do that. But take a few breaths, right? Do the meditation, ruminate on those words, and then I can't see it for you. I don't know where you've gone wrong, but you've got to find that, and then you've got to do a bootleg turn and go back the other way in some cases. You started doing drugs, well then stop it or reduce it. Find ways, get creative, do that. Look, people can have a setback. People can lapse. People can go through health issues and then recover. So think of it that way. Any type of mental illness, any type of frustration, any type of this or that, it's just temporary. Think of it that way. Also think of it as causal. Maybe you're being driven crazy by certain environmentals. Reflect on that and then dispense with the things that make you crazy. Now, some people, for example, in my life, they set the bar of extroversion very high, but I'm not a very extroverted person. So I felt like a failure socially, but actually that was a rather misguided self-perception, was it not? But these are these weird takes we can take based on social framing, which is also perhaps adversarial and not beneficial, or just ignorant, misguided, or you name it. Especially that we got head flippers in play that use these little oppressive devices to baratify zones as pseudo-intellectual, emotionalizing, moralizing puppets. So, but they're trained that way, and they're told, i.e. given a cover story that no, they're actually working for utopia. It's everyone else that's against them or wrong, per se, in pre-crime kind of social nudging, or how do they want to call it? Whatever it is, it's utterly reprehensible and misguided, and probably only the opinion is held by, a handful of psych people. A lot of propaganda. So yeah, we have to always come back to ask ourselves, what is beneficial socially, economically, politically, and all other ways for us as a people and a culture and a country and everything else. So asking those questions as a citizen, we're reestablishing civic society. You are allowed, in fact, you are encouraged to participate, but not with any kind of astroturf that is recognizable to be nothing but a waste of time. Those times are over. Okay, you might not think so, but they are. So don't insist on being a nuisance, because why should anyone think of you as anything other than that, when that is what you are? So, but now listen, people, 99% of people who listened to what I just said did not think of themselves as the annoying, impish, aggressor party. But rest assured, there's at least 1% that feels personally offended by what I just said because they're trained that way, right? It's like some type of emotional detonation device. They get into some venue and then pull that shtick, like 3 Card Monty, or online, like they got bullying groups, water armies, you name it, pulling that off. Somebody getting paid doing that. A bunch of stooges on 9 to 5, or what do they do? 996. Damn. Damn. So if you've been played like that, look, it can happen. It has happened. People have been totally destroyed by that because it's actually sort of like a war crime if you think of it in terms of a hybrid war. But we still are waiting on the experts to write that report and then tie that with the bill that would shut those operations down. But I believe it's forthcoming. I heard in the next 3 days that's probably going to drop. So I guess all the armies of lawyers that we don't need, they can start studying that and advising their clients what not to do, like not investing in the Dictator Alliance and pulling from any venture that has, or people. I don't know. That's just one thought in one day in 1 minute. But people need to start thinking, getting the ball rolling that way. But yeah, failure. Look, we learn from failure. So look, think 5, 6, and then 10 of cups. See, that 5 of swords. Look, that's failure, man. But it can go to the science. You learn by your mistakes. If you can do that, if you can transmute that, if you can turn that lead into gold, you will get knowledge. And knowledge leads, the opportunity of knowledge is, of course, enlightenment, of satisfaction. But that's just one way to get there. Knowledge is good because it isn't ignorance, and ignorance is a hindrance. Now you know a couple of things, now you won't be hindered by them. You know how a couple of people operate and why and what they do and the effects are bad, and who's paying them and pushing them. Well, that's quite good to know, I would say, in a topsy-turvy world where there's a lot of moving parts. But of course, the psychological effects you might have based on these kind of downer developments might also be of a psychological kind that you can apply skillful practice to. Skillful, prayerful meditation in the Christian sense. Look at that. All my Christian bros, I have nothing against you, nor am I advising you to adopt any foreign religion, right? Or do anything extreme that you think isn't part of what you consider to be social decorum, so don't worry about any of that. I'm so glad I was able to clear that up, because some people will say, well, he's a Buddhist. He can't be Christian. You see how people play that? Look, no, I actually am the first, and the other is just the module. But that module has a lot of good stuff in it, just like, what do you want to call it? Like some kind of catalyst, like a turbocharger. So you got your little rinky-dink thing, and my thing's got a turbocharger on it, that module. You see, but I did have to build it myself. You see what I'm talking about? But it's an addition. I didn't just snap my fingers and forget what I learned. What? How does that work? I also didn't take an adversarial position against Christianity like some philosophers did, so-called, like Nietzsche. That people are like, oh, well, well, look, he was against however it was being practiced at his time, which we do not know about. It was really limited to his environment. Isn't that so surprising? But everyone wants to apply it like some type of, world universal wisdom. That's not always the case, is it? So just relax, people. Ideas are ideas. How people act is another thing. And being tolerant in religious matters is actually somewhat wise, although, of course, what religions are we talking about? Ones that employ a dual strategy, maybe that's not wise, but one of the criticisms of Buddhism is that, well, it led to passivity and pacifism, and ultimately wasn't capable of defending itself against the onslaught set in motion by Genghis Khan or others like him. Now, there is something to be said for that, but there's also something to be said for the long perspective that it still survived, although many religions didn't. And it just moved on its way. Like, its inception point wasn't where it stayed for geopolitical reasons that were beyond any one human's control, and that maybe they weren't as inept as people think. If you think of it in terms of a Taoist strategy, how did they lose? Did they add to more strife and aggravation in the world, or maybe not? That the people who found it were really grateful for all of that wisdom and knew how valuable that was, to the point that they preserved it as if they preserved their own lives, because it did. I don't know. What do you think? Even in vastly exotic lands in different languages, that it had such a massive appeal and such a direct kind of influence that was positive on their lives, that it wasn't a gimmick, right? It wasn't something that promised and then failed to deliver, kind of thing. But of course, teachers vary, practitioners vary, there's always variability, but where there's a lot of people giving it their best effort, then communities grow up, families grow up, things get better. Even though we have old age, sickness, and death. So look at that. Was able to overcome 1, 2, 3. So where are the people who are going to say, oh, well, no, this is all malarkey? On the other hand, for Christianity, yeah. Look, that got people through bad times, yes or no? Who's going to come up and say Benedict didn't know what he was doing? Or Patrick? What? What about the other saints? Not throwing that away, you kidding me? Now, I do get it. People make mistakes, people interpret things wrong, people become dogmatic. But you don't have to have any damn animosity towards any other religions, really. Why? Unless there's a reason for having it. But if it brings the practitioner even just a little drop of peace, what's wrong with that? So I think it's also something that one can say is that, look, religion, you can compartmentalize that. I could be a welder that is very productive and on point and have great relationships with people of other religions, and yet still to have the direct benefits of a practice that one could term to be more Buddhist than Christian. But how much is it Christianity and how much is it Buddhism? Maybe it's more Christian than Buddhist. Is that okay? Like, who gets to decide if that guy is benefiting or not to the extent that they would want him to benefit or not, based on perhaps depriving him of an extra method that one can even call practical philosophy if one does not want to be religious per se, because it's that too. Well, at least my method, my synthesis of two schools. Why not? without challenging any ethnocentricities, but rather accepting them and actually looking at them and saying, well, look, these are all good, right? But they don't have to become the same. That's good too. In fact, that's probably better because there's no becoming all the same. So that which perpetuates and does not challenge social mores and certain essential issues is always better than the opposite of that. So we can just accept it with a lot of compassion, right? And not have to see an unnecessary problem down the line or in the context of some framing that might be a little bit hysterical and a little less practical than it should be and or delusional, because knowledge is independent. Certain ethnocentric groups prized the Dhamma and also maintained it, and others lost it, not because they wanted to, but because they were extincted. Okay? At least in the areas where they were, where transmission could have taken place. Now, people could blame the Greeks more for losing that branch, but look, there's been a lot of cultural distortions in that region over the centuries for which modern morons have no idea or clue how difficult and challenging those times were, as well as nearly incomprehensible to outsiders. I always encourage people to reread Dante's Inferno. In fact, this might be the message for you right now. You needed to hear to do it again. But the rumor is that Dante got involved in politics, and that's why the story is the way it is. But nobody really understood it, and then finally, what did it really matter? We don't know. So people can take things crazy during their lifetimes, but there's no necessity to do that. And the people that do, judge them according to that. They take hard positions that are weird and not helpful. Let them be judged for that. Don't just per se take their point of view and say, oh, well, they don't think this is beneficial or useful or insightful. So, okay, you can see it that way. How about this? There's people, like if a meteor strikes right near them, they'll just be like, ooh, and run away. Right? And then there's other people who are like, oh my God, a meteor is steaming right there. It's the size of a fist, and it looks like some form of miraculous jade that has a depth of color to it. It's green as the ocean. Could it be the eye of the dragon? And then just think of those other people. They ran away. Oh, it's just it's a dangerous rock. Somebody could have threw it at us, so who cares? It's just a rock. You know? So, look, I get it. There's certainly no general commonality between certain personalities, especially people one might consider to be geniuses. But of course, what does it matter what other people say? Like some people might say that that's the case, and then we have, Coco Pinocchios that people say that's the case too. So, and then you got two side by side. There's no comparison. See, that's crap temporariness. What about Pericles? Well, who were the slugs of his day that nobody talks about but were in the way? This is just the nature of human existence, and the paltry and the vulgar and the common that we are surrounded by. At times, not all times, right? That would be the malignant narcissist conceit that, no, of course nobody's better than me, right? Just think of them as like big fart balls, just sniffing themselves, but really they don't like other people that outshine them. And then you see the schemerism come out. Really despicable kinds of personalities. Like, just like I added the Buddhist module, these people add bad modules to badness. And they get that turbocharge. They get something out of it, right? Like worldliness. 5 cents realms maybe, but ooh, what a way to go. Going out like that. Ooh. That's a low blow. But look, that's the other great thing. It opens up northern India and all of its history and all of its really great parables and stories and proverbs and sayings and histories and kings and clothes and food and way of traveling and yoga and a lot of other great things. There's a couple of stories that I repeat over and over that are very insightful, but do you know there's a whole treasure trove of stories from that place? But of course, don't confuse it with the denizens living there now. Like, we're talking about ancient Indian cultures that are, again, extinct, but there are archaeological remnants. Just think of it as like the Egyptian pyramids. Like, yeah, that's where the pharaoh was, but look at all these people around that are actually hostile to that culture, have nothing to do with it, supplanted it. So, yeah, you do have to bring a little bit of your imagination with you, but anybody can do that wants to, and then you can see what's on top of that is irrelated to what was originally there. I think that's something people can do, but unfortunately it does seem to be a superhuman skill because it's so super normal. But it shouldn't be. Come on, you just heard this. Why can't you do it? You can do it. Get yourself a book on archaeology. It's been published maybe in the last 3 years, but isn't culturally jammed in any way. So probably not from the Ivy League, due to reasons. But again, maybe in 20 years, once this all blows over, like a bad smell blows out to sea, then we can get back to the real science, the real histories, and the real brilliance of all of the facets of real Western civilization. So someone wrote in and said, well, yeah, everybody knows that Chicago, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, New York, and Florida are messed up. Did I mention Chicago? What other cities are we looking at? Well, I think we can. What cities have been in the news for cultural vandalism? Let's think. Well, I guess it would have to be Seattle and Portland. Have to add those two. Probably look at anybody in that state that has been engaged in that activity or funded it. Illicit activity at this point, but not for long. Then, San Francisco and California. Yeah, I think everybody's going to agree in the future that they targeted that state first. And then, just I guess to be thorough, Boston and any mass hole that thought being associated with 68 was something that they deserved a little gold star for, because now it turns out that was nothing but crap. It was nothing but anti-American. And the results are horrifying, no matter what they say. Whether they pull out the brass band and, give themselves little bubble baths or not. Because they do that, and it's really embarrassing for them. because they're all on tape. So now we know who funded it and what the purpose of it was and the results after years of infamy. What are they going to do? They're going to sanitize, censor, deep six that information and just bright side us like North Koreans that everything they ever did was right. Because that is part of the radical class method of operations. Look at Russia right now. Oh, everything they do is right. Everything anybody says against them is wrong. Look at that. There they are. Don't know about that? You're watching the equivalent of supermarket commercials as your news sources. Sorry, you got duped. You're duped. Look at the casting. Do those people look honest to you? Look at those faces in those. Look at the talking heads. Do those look like credible people to you? What kind of university educations did they have? Were they at one of these classist Ivy League schools in a country that doesn't acknowledge that class as being legitimate? Didn't ever want that class? How did that class pop up? Well, that's a class we don't need, right? The D Class A class. But yeah, Sanford, we gotta look. Write in the comments. What are some other cities that have been trashed by the same kind of operation? The radical class. Right, again, remember, the radical class is too radical for the working class. Now they got psych lab people that, oh, by the way, these universities, why not consider them psych labs? Look what goes in, like nice, optimistic, hardworking, determined students, and look what comes out. A wacky doodle, adversarial, psychologically debilitated kinds of people. Oh, that's the radical class. Yeah, they were told you gotta be in on this, otherwise nothing for you. This is the right way. That's what they told them. Look at what happened. Look at them. They're monsters. Psychologically and physically. They're wrecked. They look horrible because they are horrible. Horrible things have been done to them. They've adopted a horrible way of seeing the world and a horrible way of interacting with it. Let's not call them the radical class. Let's call them the sadistic class or the S&M class. Why not? Now look, what you do in the broom closet, that's just ridiculous, okay? Keep it there, but in politics, it's inappropriate. Ain't nobody need anos coming out somewhere and making their lives more difficult on some type of power trip. And that is exactly how they operate, people, so don't even think that that isn't. All those little power politics they play, they bring politics into everything, their damn relationships, any kind of relationships, working relationships. Oh, no, you need to be on board with this, otherwise nothing for you. When was that the idea in a democracy? When was that the culture of democracy? Oh, it wasn't? Where's this culture coming from? Oh, it's coming from our adversaries and a broker class of flip people that let it happen for money. Is that right? Could something that stupid be perpetrated on us by people who wrote the book on the art of war? I'm just flabbergasted. I'm shocked. Oh, wait, no, I'm not. No, actually, that's really as easy as can be, right? At least for people with no integrity that are somehow leveraged. So look, this all this economic leveraging. That's how they get you too. That's how they get the masochist. Okay. I have to have this, I have to have that, and if I don't have that, I'm a loser. That's what these sadists and bullies tell me. Look, man, you lose oppression, you're free, you're not a loser. People who are leverage, look at them, these little cowards, these little dirt balls that copped a deal to keep a job. I'm just, gotta do it for my family or whatever they tell themselves. No, you know, little sniveling dogs, little rats, little chumps. You took a deal. You signed off on with the devil. That's what you did. There has been honorable poor people since the beginning of time. Yes, they were poor, but they were honorable. You're still poor, relatively speaking, and you have zero, not even a shred of integrity. And on top of that, the karma, I see some people say, well, Buddhism don't go off on that. Look, there's a whole set of people that know that metaphysics is really important and what you do here is very important, and copping a deal with the devil is something you shouldn't do. And if you did, you need to repent. That money you made is cursed. It is. Wasn't worth it. It was a mirage. It was a delusion. You exchanged integrity and self-respect for money. Look at it. It's paper. It's ink. Right? That's black magic, man. And that's not to say all money's bad. Look, sometimes it works the other way. You do something good and you're rewarded for it. Praise God, right? Hallelujah. That's awesome. But it doesn't happen every time. In many cases, it never happens. Right? Mozart, he died poor. He died young. All these other fat cats out here living to 100 with $1 billion, look at them, and then look at Mozart, and then ask yourself what they did for the world compared to him. They're rich. It's a disgrace. It's absurd. It's monstrous to think about. And yet they still can't get enough. That's where we come back to the greed factor. Have too much money, then they want the power too. No, they're qualified. You're just riffraff according to them. What? They're the riffraff. That's the way you need to see them. And the more money they have and the more things they want for themselves, especially political office, when they are riffraff, that their riffraff factor goes up to the nines. Okay, when they do that. Like I said, the normal scuzzball rich person, like who do we want to pull out of a hat? There's so many examples. I mean, I always come back to Crassus and his little fireman routine that he had. But what's a modern day example? Escobar, there you go. Pull him out. Everybody loves drugs these days, don't they? Oh no, they don't. It's an addiction. They keep gotta having it to feel even normal. Is that right? And that's how he built up his business on a product like that. That man was more wealthy than all y'all put together. So what? He was a scuzzball. He lived like a scuzzball and he died like a scuzzball. And where he is now, ask the Tibetan monks where they think Escobar is now. It's not in his own private prison. So what did that money get him? He's a success. Put him on a t-shirt, is that right? He's replaced, what was that other dirtball? Because there's so many of them, they put them on t-shirts. This radical class dirtball, not Castro, his little buddy that got blasted in Bolivia. You know what I'm talking about. Che, that's right, Che Guevara, yeah. Another little phony hero of the radical class. Look what he did, just shot a bunch of people, got a lot of people killed, and then his own damn self. I like his last pictures where his haircut doesn't look quite right. Look at his last photos after they, let's say, put some hands on him. Figured out he was in the area and picked him up and asked him some questions. Put that face on a t-shirt. Keep people from going the wrong way. But yeah, what's the problem? Greed. Greed is a defilement. Greed is not good. You see it with fat people. Look, fat people, I have a lot of pity for you. Okay. Why? See, let's look at how Christianity manages this, of which I have immense respect for. What did they say? Did they say gluttony was a sin? What was a sin? Well, is sin missing the mark? Does it mean not doing the right thing? Did they say gluttony was a sin? Did they say that? Well, what does that mean? Can we say gluttony is greed? Can we say greed is not good? Can we say greed leads to bad outcomes, like a fat, obese body, which is the leading cause of comorbidity? Is that a scientific fact? Is that what we're talking about now? We come back to the secularists. So we have a scientific fact that corresponds to metaphysical kinds of scriptural, many religions agree kind of thing. Do we have a contention there or not? No, we don't. We have synchronicity. Oh, Lord, look at that. We're all on board. So, what's one method? Well, one method is 1 meal a day. From dawn till noon, you can eat 1 meal. That's it. Now, if you're obese, now don't, again, consult your doctor, but guess what? You've got enough meat on your bones to keep you from starving, most likely for 30 days, or at least 2 weeks, or maybe longer. Now, what does your body need? Well, it needs water, because if you don't drink water, you'll die within 3 days, because dehydration is more dangerous than starvation, especially for a fat person. So look at the BMI, body mass index. What matters? Your age and your height. That's it. They don't need to know your name. They don't need to know your parents. They don't need to know what you like to eat or what you don't. How tall are you and what is your age, and are you male or female? Those are the 3 criteria. You find those, you can put yourself on a scale. No, don't put yourself on a scale. Get your height, right? Your age and your sex. Pop those into the body mass index. It will tell you what the healthy weight range for you is. You go below it, you need to eat more. You go above it, you need to stop. And right in the middle is about where you should be, but you know what? Probably a tick below the middle, because people are too soft these days. Okay? And don't overdo it. Don't take too much off. Don't put too much on. But you mix that water. It's 2 parts calcium, 1 part sodium. So maybe a teaspoon of calcium, which is a salt, and a half a teaspoon of sodium with another half a teaspoon of chili pepper, just for the fun of it. Chili pepper has some good attributes to it too. It gives a little bit of taste. Swirl it up in a liter of water, drink that down. You might need 2 a day, depending on the temperature or your activity range. And let that ketosis process work. Ketosis is when your body flips from burning what it has in its stomach, because you're not putting anything there, to burning what is on the meat on your bones, which for you fat people means all that damn fat. Now, once that process starts, and you could get these little tabs that you can piss on, and it'll tell you if you're in ketosis or not. Again, read up on this stuff, people. This is not rocket science. Then the whole idea is to stay in ketosis, which is to say, for obese people, I'm not even recommending one meal a day until you get back within a BMI that is healthy. So we could call it the Sword of Buddha diet, is what I recommend for you until you get into the BMI range. That is healthy, and then you start the one meal a day side of the double-edged sword of Buddha. And it will free you from that weight, right? It will liberate you from it. But it's going to require spiritual practice to do it. It's going to require determination. So that part doesn't go away. You're going to have to devote yourself. You're going to have to find perhaps a support group, like a yoga group, like a meditation yoga group, that will keep you on the straight and narrow, because those cravings are going to come up. And it's about watching them arise and then maintaining discipline and then watching them cease without caving in. And that is the hard part. That's the spiritual part. See, I can tell people to do that. They won't do that. Well, why won't they do that? Well, they can't beat the demons of greed within them. And that's what I will call them. And it's actually accurate. The seculars, oh, here he goes again. Look, read it up. Read it, the dictionary, dummies. Right? You look at computer science, daemon. Where does that come from? It's just a sub-process that's working against you. It's a demon. And these demons are real, and they have horrible results if they're not countered, if they're not recognized for what they are, if they're not countered every time. So prepare yourself. It's going to be a battle. It's going to be a battle against the forces of evil. And these are personal forces. They're within you. And not recognizing them, not seeing them then as that, is not being prepared. You're not going to win that battle. You're going to lose it. Oh, well, why are you doing? Yeah, I don't care, secularist. You're drinking your damn sect booze. You're not going far enough. Go to metaphysics. Right? I can't go there. We're in a materialist society. Well, you're on the dummy bus, whether you know it or not. Get off that bus. There are things people do not understand. Oh, Einstein. Einstein didn't know crap. He thought he did. A lot of people thought he did. He knew some things. Okay. Whatever. The times have moved on. He didn't have the James Webb telescope. There's people looking at what that's producing now. They don't know what they're looking at. So what do you even know? What you do know is how to think you know about everything, or everything that matters you don't. Or how about doubt everything? That's not a skill. Look it up. It's one of the hindrances. So if you're going to get on the Mobilize party, right? That's another side project, but even if you don't, you need to get yourself physically fit. And you need to do it for you first. Number one, it's for you. Remember that. You think I'm a dictator and I'm telling you what to do. If you need that, okay, then think that. But actually, no, it's for you. Number one, it's for you. Then it's for the people that interact with you. I mean, your lack of self-respect is contagious. You can't even stop stuffing your mouth. Come on. That's not the way you were meant to be. Don't be that type of person. Don't be the example of what not to do. We all can get on bad roads. Look, addiction, there's addictions for everything. You can get addicted to anything. You're addicted to food. Just admit it. You're a glutton. It's a common thing. It's something people can get into, but it's also something people can get out of, and they can stay out of it with the right practice and the right mindset. So you heard it here first, the Sword of Buddha diet. And it will slice off those pounds, and it will reestablish civility, dignity, and respect within you, and will generate it in others that know you, for you. But it is your challenge in this dimension to defeat these demons, and think about that. This is a great opportunity. This dimension is great because it gives you that opportunity to do that. And I've given you the recipe, so look at that knowledge. Knowledge is power, but you need to make it happen. That you heard this, you're already blessed by God. Now it's putting in the work. You put in the work with the right knowledge, you will get the right results. Right effort, right knowledge, right results. That's how it works. Now, as far as the comparison to these cities that have been wrecked, there's a comparison there too. You have people that have been taught the wrong things, they do the wrong things. The results are then not so good. So are these cities lost? Well, some say they're going to get nuked or blown up or burned down. Well, even if that happens, they can be rebuilt in a better way with better people that do better things in a better way. I'm hoping that doesn't happen, but it's happened before. Can happen again, and if it does, we're going to need all hands on deck that can make it a better place than what it became in the later stages of total failure, thanks to 68ers and their little stooges and suckers that are still quite self-congratulatory as far as that whole stupefying process is concerned. So you've been supporting them, pull your support. You have a company run by them, stop working with that company. You've been doing that, stop doing that. You've been associating with people that think like that, stop doing that. It wasn't meant to be a good thing, it didn't turn into a good thing, it's not a good thing. You can stop doing that. You don't have to feel bad about stop doing that. You don't. Feel real good about stop doing that. And we will get through this. Look, there's been all different types of terrible times and all different types of terrible episodes and all different types of terrible delusions and illusions and classes of people that self-define themselves into infamy. But that's what this wacky dimension is all about. Don't lose your focus, don't lose your center, don't give up, don't give in. That's not how good things happen. Now, I was thinking, how can I help people out that are on this diet to stick with it? Well, when you're mixing the salt crystals, think of that like angel food or guardian angel food. It's a magic element. When you mix that up, and maybe the chili powder, that also has some magical attributes to it. Sort of like, you could think of it like crushed rose petals, or just that color. You see that color? That color has a certain vital magic to it. Also has that sting, that little extra sting to it, a little extra burn to it. Burn up those demons. So you're coming with light and fire against these demons. And then when the cravings come up, think of them like some type of grotesque, hideous hornet that's going to come into your mind and try to buzz around. Bzzz. It wants to eat something. It wants you to eat something. It's going to try to change your mind, go back to your bad hot habits. But see, at that moment, like that salt crystal, one of those salt crystals activates, and a guardian angel pops out with a sword and starts fighting that craving back, that little hideous hornet, and it's like that. You can test it. And then it drives off the hornet and buzzes away, and that's the cessation of desire. Just like that, it came in a mind moment, and then it was sent away. And just meditate like that when the cravings come up. See it like that. Let it play out like that, and let your guardian angels guard you from desire and cravings. And as they arise, also your guardian angels arise. And do everything you can to support their efforts. Now, of course, for the morbidly obese and what have you, look, you need special consultation by doctors, okay? Ideally, and also doctors that won't snow you on these things. But if it's DIY, look, this is something that can work if it has to be that way. But realize there could be some side effects or complications. Some people, for example, they'll also add maybe raw broccoli to the process because they want to have some fiber circulating through the guts while while this fasting process. See, we're going to use a Christian term for it to make it accessible for Christians. The fasting, it facilitates the metabolism during the fasting process. It's not complete shock therapy. Think of it again. Think of alcoholics. Your cravings. You're essentially like a foodaholic, right? But alcoholics that go cold turkey, sometimes it kills them. So be advised about that. But I'll tell you one thing: this does get results. Uh, it's not smooth, right? It's not easy, but it will get results. And if you keep to the BMI, you set your goal, and you set your pace, and you set your solitude, and you set your mind right, you will achieve this goal, and you will be free of those demons. And people will see it. You will be redeemed. And you will be able to help others in the same way. But of course, it's the people that need to put in the effort for themselves. This is the personal response. You're personally responsible for your body. That's it. And if you don't take that responsibility, nobody else can do it for you. I just told you what to do, but you don't do it, that's on you. You will roll through this existence as a fat person that isn't healthy, that is limited, that is afflicted by unnecessary suffering. Oh yeah, make sure you remember that part. It's your behavior that is causing extra suffering for you, which is totally unnecessary. But I do realize overcoming addiction is one of the hardest things spiritually that a human being could possibly do. Now, although I said that, it's also possible to do. And when it does happen, it's a miracle. And it should be considered a miracle. It should not be forgotten. That defeat of that demon in this realm, in this dimension, That's miraculous. It's wonderful. It's great. It's fantastic. It's liberation. That's what it is. It's liberation in that one instance. But see, you can use those skills to liberate yourself from other things like bad thoughts. How about self-talk? Oh, stop doing this. You're crazy. You're actually underweight. I like you how you are and all that. You're gonna have to see them for the little hornets that they are too. Little two-faced kind of flying beings, like hornets with little masks on them, trying to tell you stop doing it. No, no, don't mix up that potion. Who told you that? That's bad. You see, you feel bad. No, go back to doing what you were. See, that's why it's so difficult. You think it's your thoughts. It's not. But again, you can apply it to everything. Bad food, bad ideas, bad politics, bad culture. And coming back to the 68ers, look, there were basically, you have to think of the radical class and their brokers. Okay, so people that just were up for grabs and flipped, like they didn't have any real affinity for the culture, and it could be demographics, it could be different groups that they targeted because they realized they could flip either way. So you have 10 people in a demographic that was known to be flippable, and then 8 took the flip and pretended, played pretend with the rest of the people that they were still on board with the original idea. Had some benefits from that, and the other two, well, oh well, guess they didn't. So remember that people can flip, groups of people can flip, any kind of demographic can flip, especially if there's just a tenuous connection to the whole idea or country or anything else, which is why we're heading towards higher political standards in the future. It's already hit rock bottom. We've got essentially imposters and charlatans as our political class at this time. Come back to Trump. Someone's like, "Oh, you're back in Trump." Well, yeah, this time. But guess what? Trump, to me, he's a New York liberal. Okay, in a parallel world where we're just looking at things on the on the surface. The only thing that makes him far right, according to some head flipped framists, is their radicality. They're so far in the left radical class bag. They're on Pluto somewhere. In the parallel world where the U.S. politics didn't get rump-a-dump bing banged, Trump would be a Democrat and a fat cat sort of liberal dude. And there would be someone that wasn't like that to the right of him. But in the blown frame that we're living in, thanks to the radical class and the pig class, he's somehow far right. And they're, morally outraged permanently to the point of, I feel I can do violence and other people will back me up, just like Jack Black and his zany comedy routine in Australia that got shut down. Kind of people, paper thin sadist, radical class people. But to me, he's a big sort of lefty, and what does he do? He had a one term. He could have done a lot more. What he did do was motivate some Americans that were left in the lurch to get involved, so I do credit him for that. He is brave. I credit him with that. But this second term, he needs to do a lot more than he did the first term. without any pretenses that these people uh, are good for the country or even really engaged in debate when in fact they're radical loons on the dictator alliance kind of side with a bunch of brokers and flip people playing pretend in between. Plug and play people. How much cash did they get? Jenky Johnson, 3 months delay in types of supplies that could lead to exterminationist outcomes. He's far right. Is that right? Is that how framists are doing things these days in a weird kind of compromised information space? What? Huh? Opening ceremony, French Olympics? Is that what we're dealing with? Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. So I'm totally against this left and right kind of frame thing, but just to use it for perspective, yeah, Trump is a fat and happy kind of liberal NYC dude from a cultural standpoint. He's about as right as I don't know what, who. He's not right at all. I just say he's basic. But let's also get back to family dynasties. Nothing, it doesn't matter. Like, again, there's no family dynasties worth perpetuating at this time. Also, look at the Kennedys, they're a disgrace. So, people who've been in politics, what, their son goes into politics because their father did, that's a red flag. Vote those fools out and never vote them back in. Now, I'm not shutting the door on them, but as a dynasty, there are no family dynasties in the United States worth any damn on the political level. So they want to play that card. They got some cachet. They have none. The country is in a bad way, and they help put it there. That's the way you need to see him. So I also don't see his family continuing any damn dynasty. They don't seem to have any damn sense other than trying to make more damn money for themselves that they shouldn't have had in the first place. Just because daddy and granddaddy did something. Now, I am going to give Trump, look, nobody should touch his money. But why should he want any more either? As far as his family's concerned, like I said, where's the legitimacy? Who are they associated with? Is it flippable people in questionable countries doing questionable things? If so, why should anyone take them seriously? We can see Biden and his son, for example. That's a big joke, isn't it? So no, families and politics, that's a red flag. They start pulling people in or doing things, cashing in on political influence. To see them for what they are. They're not doing anything good for the American people. They're just doing something for themselves. They should retire. Who cares? So media wants to do it. Yeah, look, capture family. Yeah. Wah, rah, rah, rah. Don't go along with it. They should also do something else if they're not going to do the country a solid in business. I'm in business and in politics. Look at them walking around. It's embarrassing. This is people look at U.S. politics and they cringe. I'm a big successful businessman and a politician. It goes together like crap and silverware. Look, business people stick to business. Okay, political class. We're doing a new political class. It's called authentically American. Okay, not ANOS or rhinos or any other nose. No. See those two letters? N-O, no. Know them. So we've had a cultural decline and demise and a scrambling, and we're going back to basics. So it's called civic responsibility. It's called ethics. It's called loyalty to the country and the people and the culture that founded the damn country and not any other damn thing kind of class of people that incidentally most likely will not be filthy wealthy in any way going forward. In fact, that would probably be a reason to not go into politics in the future, because people will probably boo you out of the forum before you get in for understandable reasons. But on the other hand, that doesn't mean that the money people get to back politicians that then bend to what they want either. Okay, that game is about as crappy as it gets too. So, okay, you have money, fine. Be happy for yourself, but that's it. Don't don't go any further than that. Now, on the other hand, if you're civically minded and you have good values and morals and you have a vision, okay, maybe you could donate the money. There you go. Before you go into politics, give it all away. Do that. Do something like that. Say, look, I thought money was the way. Now I know it isn't. I'm going this way. That might work. But be sure it's not a gimmick like some of these fake charities, because that would go over like a lead balloon too. Or how about engaging any kind of PR companies to airbrush your personas? Like you didn't come from a banking family, but you just were an entrepreneur that let everything just worked out for you because you're a genius. That's not gonna fly in the future either. So look at these information outlets at these time people. These people are engaged in illicit crimes. So just be sure to digitally capture them. Let the tape, everything they say at this time, just make sure it's digitally saved, because they are engaged in flagrant illicit activity at this point. So yeah, Trump, obviously he's going to win this election if they don't pull a vote rig or some type of other thing. But as far as 2028 goes, it's mobilized all the way. And that means Democrats and Republicans let these ridiculous people inherit all the bile and trash that their parties deserve, and jump ship to the new party. It's called Mobilize. Someone said, could you talk a little bit more about social imposterism and charlatanism, and also social jammers? Yeah, we've talked about culture jammers, but they're also social jammers, because institutional capture, that's the kind of agents that they sent out. Essentially, they're part of the psych lab army. So they go in and then they try to change it. They flip the values because they've been emotionalized. They have a narrative. That's been drummed into them, and you're the bad guy. They're not the bad guy. No, 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 no. They're for all utopianistic, moralizing things. And then emotion, 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 emotion if they don't get their way. Because sadists go and break through boundaries that are set up for sadists. The sadists that walked through your fence and kicked in your door and robbed you, yeah, look at those two boundaries. Is that what good people do? No. Good people will see a fence and say, well, I should not be going there, so I will respect the boundary. If there's an entranceway, they will ring the doorbell. Hello, it's me. May I proceed or no? Do you want to see me? No? Okay, I'll go away. That's what good people do. They don't do that. If they take the front door, or ring the doorbell, they'll lie to get in. Oh, I'm here. I'm checking your electricity meter or something like that. They lie, straight up lie. This cultural policy is great for the United States and the Western world. It isn't. They lie. You let them in on that pretense, you're a stooge. Which brings me to their routine. All right, there's two types of them. There's the good cop, bad cop. The good cop just plays the weak person. Like, well, we can't exclude them from our religious services. Let's just pull something out of the hat. It could be a movie club. It could be a book club. It could be the library. It could be anything. These people know no limits. Well, they can't be all bad. So that's the good cop of the good cop bad routine. They're people that just, make you doubt yourself. Like, well, having someone who's dead set against the whole purpose of the institution in the first place in the institution isn't wise. They're not appropriate. In fact, they're hostile to the mandate, so kick them out. That's what a normal person would. Oh, no, we can't do that. That would make too much of a fuss. So essentially, pretending to be weak leadership or manifesting weak leadership in cases that absolutely do require leadership and somebody putting their foot down, like, no, you're out of line. This isn't acceptable. You're gone. That's the other thing, giving people chances. Well, I told them that wasn't acceptable, but obviously they're going to just transform into new psych labists, and they're not going to do that again. Well, they might not do that, but they're going to start this, and this, because their heart's not in the right place. Their brains have been scrambled. They're hostile to the culture or the institution or the idea or the people that founded the country or cultural hierarchy. Who knows what it is? So see them as a pair. Weak leadership, you need to get rid of them too. Somebody says they're not going to get rid of somebody that's causing nothing but drama is part of the problem. So if you want to look at it in terms of first and second estate, our first estate is unelected financial people that nobody really knows about. That it's a conspiracy. They claim not to exist, but actually they do. So that haven't been audited and have way too much power and influence on our government and culture at this time. But that can change. So that's first estate. Second estate is their psych labus. The weak variety I mentioned, the milk toast. Oh, it's not that bad. Just, go along to get along types. That play that, by the way. Little ballless, clueless chumps, essentially. And then you've got the maniac sadist, people that will play psych games, will try to ostracize you, try to create little conspiracies in the office or in the institution or anything else. Or how about come up with lawfare and then institute that to just ice you out of everything in the entire society that's worth having. Like I said, chopping up fish or something, you can have that job. But you're a natural talent. You might be an awesome tennis player. No. They want some hideous thing there for propagandistic purposes. So, no, you're not right for the job. They want the ugliest for us and the best for them because that's how they win. Right? How our horses run fast, run good. They'll win every race if it's fair, but what interest would they have in seeing us do that? Well, they have no interest in that. In fact, they don't want that happening. That's why they went into the sabotage game and looking for people and psych labs and psych labists that will make that policy happen. So these weaklings and leadership positions, get rid of them. Oh no, I'm just a good person. I'm just mitigating between two sides. No, they're not. They're facilitating a social pathology that is established. They have millions and millions and millions of deaths on their tab, on their side. An ocean of blood, a mountain of corpses stinking to high heaven. There's nothing good about them. Yeah, them right out the door. Like I said, sociologists of the future, they'll be able to spot this like a mile away. They'll come into a zone, they'll have sensors, they'll be like, whoa, what? We got all these good people dead or impoverished, and all these chumps in bottlenecks. The little alarm be like, ring, 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 we got a problem. Bzz, bzz, bzz. Entering a decapitated, rump-runted zone. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Just like that. But again, until you get to that level, there's all this pretense and play pretend, and no, I'm really on your side. I just look like a weirdo that doesn't belong, but I'm insisting I do type of people. So, look, we are leaving that stage, although, like I said, you might be in Nebraska where they can pull that off still. But in places they've already wrecked, it's pretty clear that the people that did that are war criminals and deserve to be found out. And where are these people that did that? Oh, they're dead. They were nihilists. They just got some goodies while the getting was good, and now they're dead. Is that it? Or there's still some of them around? Where are these old heads that want to take responsibility for all of these disasters? They don't want to take responsibility either? No, I'm just seeing things wrong. Is that right? The per capita income fell in the UK from first world to below Poland in our time, and don't want to talk about that? Rich people? Who are these rich people? What psychologists want to open that can of worms? No riot. You can't talk about riots. You'll just be making things worse. Just be making things worse. Talking about it. Well, how did it get that way, idiots? Who's responsible? Throw them in jail. And as far as the people that, again, broke through social boundaries, broke through physical boundaries, broke through conventional boundaries, why not just view them as that, and also encourage them, with the help of the state, of course, to go to a place that doesn't deserve that either. But they might be able to be put there and do something on their own, instead of destroying something that is or at least was internationally recognized as something valuable, but now isn't. Thanks to people, hush, 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 hush. Oh, this disturbs psychologists. They lose their minds. They flip out. Don't do it. Don't talk about it. Right? That's also what these little weaklings of the second estate, of these financial monsters, do. Like, of course, they're so moral, and their hands are so clean. They're not going to talk about any issues that a leadership or leaders of the past didn't have any problems talking about, because that's what leaders do. They lead the discussion. There's a problem. A leader is not going to say, let's not talk about it to offend people's sensibilities. What? We got a gas main that's busted. Who's got an emotional problem with that? F them. To put them in a circus cannon, 10 of them, blast them out of the forum. They're not needed. We got a gas main with a leak in it. It's explosively dangerous. Everybody's lives are in danger. Let's talk about it. The guy from the street just came back, starts yelling his head off. Look, I want to hear it. I want him to calm down at some point, but I'm not going to prevent that man from talking. Who would do that? What saboteurs would do that? They would hush up somebody talking about existential issues. Well, then who's the problem? I'd say they are, aren't they? And they are amongst us. So see them for what they are. They have a negative value. They're trying to undermine us. They have undermined us. And they want us to just go away, just be erased from history, so that their alternative reality can prevail. Their alternative history. Don't think they have them. They have them. Oh no, that's just the fringe of their. See, people make an excuse. No, read what they write and say. They say it openly. All of their behavior is congruent with that, and the results are congruent with their behavior and the way they think. So who's playing pretend here? We don't need nice people hushing everybody. Shh, it's hush. No, we don't need that. They get angry about the truth, that's their own damn problem. They should just go away. Because they're going to have more problems going forward. And it's not going to be because people are talking about massive crimes against Western civilization. Massive, absolutely massive. They're hushing that. That's the people you think are qualified for leadership? No, that's a disqualifier. They do that, disqualify. Get the few remaining people together, say, look, this institution's been captured. We either push these people out or we do something else, but we're not sticking around for this. These people are the losers. They've already lost. And again, not just in this world. What they're looking at in terms of lives to come should send a shudder down any insightful person's spine. A shudder. But what enables them to do it? Well, ultimate vulgarity, which is to say, it's just this life, that's it, and I'm gonna win some type of advantage here no matter what. It's good for me. Just a slop bucket, common variety vulgarness like that. That's what gives them their superpower to break through barriers that were set up for civil society, and now they're going to flip the script on us forever. That's their plan. Look how far they're along with that. So what do we need? We need new financial sector, new financial rules. We don't need a second estate. What we need is civil society with a lot of participation. Hey, you see something messed up, take a picture with your phone, let other people know. Why not? Now, all right, people, you can get that can be misused too, like agent provocateurs, like they try to blow things up too to cause problems, and they also have people being the agitators so that you think they're on your side, but they're not. This is what hybrid war is about. It's multipolar. It's not straightforward. So, is it frustrating? Yes. That's why they employ it. Is it impossible to see through? No, it isn't. So, but can it be confusing at times? Yes, it can. Can you be duped for a time? Yes, you can. Can you come to new realizations and stop doing things that you did in the past or stop believing things you did in the past? Yes, you can. It's about personal, political, cultural evolution as well. This is an attack we didn't have to deal with pre-globalization. Now it's every day. And a lot of these companies that consider themselves global, they have no allegiance to Western culture. They are, in many cases, dead set against it. Just look at the crimes they've committed that haven't been declared crimes because they were illicit. They're engaging in illicit activity on a massive scale. As soon as that bill is passed, they go away, and so does their management, and so does their negative influence. It's that simple. But until that happened, look at this rampage that they had, this run, this ride, this genocidal attempt with genocidal results. Look at it. What we'll have scientists calculate the damages. Maybe in 2, 3, maybe 1 year, 6 months. But we're collecting the data at this point. It's just like a massive crime. It's just unfolding. Like how many people died in Ukraine today? Do you know? But see, at some point, every single last one of them is going to be quantified. And it's going to be tallied, and it's going to be applied to the people that did it, because we know about them too. Okay? And then people are going to pay for that. And we're not going to, shh, didn't happen. We're not going to do that. It's not what people do. What? Telling me that? Who are you? Who is a person that would tell you that? Well, keep an eye out for them, because they're out there. They got their little polished stories. They just try to pretend to be normal like you. Look how they dress, and then look at what they talk. Come out with a little slick story, a little slick angle every time. These are pseudo-intellectuals. I've been trained by the Ivy League to be on top of all the issues. I'd like to see how they get these issues, these astroturf positions. They roll them out by the hour. They got the thinkers, and then their hierarchy, their pyramid, and the useful idiots, and megaphone, big mouths at the bottom, corralling the people. Oh, you can't say that. This is the position. These people are evil since forever, and now we're going to get our just desserts and this and that. Agitators, big mouths, and corrallers, browbeaters. Yeah, it's back. It's the 1917 all over again, people. So, oh, we won. We're the greatest generation. But take those corny narratives and flush them down the toilet where they belong. We didn't win nothing. What we got is a case of social gonorrhea, a bad case, and it's all over the place. And we haven't won nothing. Right? We're fighting for our lives right now, our dignity, our civility, and respect. So, see that coffee link? That's what you need to be doing. Send me some dang coffee for that, because I didn't hush nothing. But guess what? I'll tell you, that coffee is hot. Don't just take it to your lips. Straight out of the machine. It'll burn you. Let it cool down a little bit. Then enjoy. Right? Enjoy at your own pace. And yeah, institutions right now, they were a refuge. Now they're not. They're the opposite of that. You have to walk away from it. That's what you got to do. We just are in a state of transition. Not because we wanted this, but it was foisted upon us. Is that bad to say that? Do I have to worry about bad karma because of that? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think telling the truth is inappropriate. And I'm not pushing this out on people that don't necessarily want to hear it. This is something you can listen to. You can pause, right? You hear something you don't like, just pause. Don't listen. You don't have to listen. Nobody's forcing you to listen to nothing. Forcing you to listen. Pfft, that's a joke. You don't like what I say, then change how you act and think. But as far as liking bad news, I don't like bad news either. I really don't like engaging in it. That's why I compartmentalize it. But not telling the truth, for me, that would be a dereliction of duty as far as I'm concerned. Especially in the face of these hostile forces and circumstances that are aligned against so many good people. What, I'm supposed to be silent with my big mouth? I don't think so. I didn't have this big mouth to keep silent about things like that. Now, other things I do keep silent on. I don't talk about everything. Nasty, personal stuff that has no bearing on anything else. Why would I bring that up for public consumption? I also try to mix in good things. Look, people, nothing, all is not lost. None of us are getting off this planet alive. So my message, to be a hero, I see that as a good thing. Be heroic. Do not think that this is the last iteration of our culture, because it isn't. It's just a blight, right? It's a stink upon it. But we can power wash it off and shine it up again, and it will be as good or as better than before. Also, again, look to inappropriate people. Like, look, women, I love you, but you're pretty much built to support men and families. Okay? And if it's not your own, then why not support other men and families? Okay? Perfectly honorable. You don't have to have a personal stake, but it's your sort of men and families. Okay? Do make some little, very important recognitions as far as that goes. You are acting socially inappropriate based on thousands of years of social convention. The chances of you being out of line are 100%, no matter what the psych lab is say. So know what you are, where you sort of belong, and stick there, and be good there, and then you won't have a problem with anything else, including your identity, because they're trying to scramble that like an omelet, and look at how many they've destroyed with that. You're on board with that, even to a little degree. You're pretty stupid by every objective measure. But oh, your group is celebrating you. Pfft, you lose that group. But yeah, men, little fancy dancy men, they told you that being a little simp is the new man. Well, they tricked you too. They laugh at you. They think you're hilarious. You're just a total and utter failure as a man. They think that. That's funny to them. They laugh all day looking at the opening of the French Olympics. They think that's hilarious. You don't think that was intentional? Of course it is. So you bought into that. You thought that was cool. Somebody told you that. Surrounded by people who think that way. That's tragic. But dispense with it, right? It's your identity, nothing's fixed. So you did that, you got chumped like that, drop it, and come back a new person, right? A redeemed person, a reformed person, how about just a neutral person that doesn't have off-putting or simpish or weak kinds of defects in their personality? Why not that? I wish that for you. You think that's a curse, me cursing at you, spitting in your face? You don't even know what rain is. It's how much piss you've gulped down in your life. If you get offended at that, you're out of your damn mind. So, look, I've been crazy. I made mistakes. Everyone does. So just admit it and move on. Power wash the gunk off you and resolve to be a better human being. Learn from stronger men, right? Not just the buff bodybuilders, but, spiritually strong men from all different times and countries, and how they acted and how they didn't act, and they weren't butts up for anyone or anything. So yeah, particularly Buddhists and Christians, look at your institutions and look at these preachers and what have you. And if they are not 100% authentic and real and doing good and aren't, like I said, playing the good cop, bad cop with these cyclabists, you need to bounce, because you're being conned. You're being given the slow or fast con. And these people, like I said, in the years to come, they're going to get busted for that. And it's not going to be a light charge, because religion and culture, it's a lot more important. It's that type of crime. For me, it's worse than a physical crime. And my bill will reflect that. They're going to get 10 years minimum. And I do believe if they hit that prison and it comes out that they were engaged in religious charlatanism, that some people that do prize religion, I'm not saying they should do this, but sort of like, molesting children or something like that, it's just one of those things that isn't really held in high esteem anywhere. So I don't know if this Rand was positive or negative. I don't think it was either one. It's a combination of the two things. But keep your eyes peeled, people. This is this today is just as messed up as yesterday in many areas, and you should be discriminating and concerned about any type of fakers in your vicinity or in your businesses or in your institutions or in your neighborhoods or anywhere else. And start taking defensive measures, because that's what's required at this time.